What a narcissist does when no one is watching, the truth you've never heard. In 2025, we don't wait for therapists to explain what we already feel. We tell the truth. As it is. Have you ever wondered what a narcissist really does when no one is watching? When the show is over and there's no one to impress? What happens in that silence isn't strength. It's fear. It's rage. It's a mask slipping. In this video, you'll hear what others avoid saying out loud. Stay until the end. The final truth might shift the way you see them and yourself. Subscribe to Chosen One's Awakening. No faces, just truth. 1. The voice they need to hear. There's a detail we often overlook. A small, almost invisible gesture the narcissist makes when no one's around. They speak to themselves out loud. But it's not a calm, reflective moment. It's stubborn self-celebration. A private ritual where they say everything they wish others would say to them. I'm the best. No one can beat me. They hate me because I'm superior. At first, it might look like a confidence exercise. But if you really listen, it's not strength. It's fear. It's the voice of their deepest insecurity, desperately trying to silence itself. Because when silence surrounds them, another voice gets louder, the one that whispers, what if I'm not actually that great? And so, they speak. Loud, louder than the fear. Louder than the narcissistic rage that eats at them. Because when no one's clapping, it's a survival routine. Talking to themselves isn't just a habit, it's a defense against collapse. And the most unsettling part? They start to believe it. Each phrase becomes a shield. Each word, a lie that protects them from a reality too fragile to face. If you've ever lived near someone who strengthens themselves out loud when they're alone, you know how disorienting it is to witness this duality. The confident mask, and behind it, the trembling voice trying to stay convinced. It's not confidence. It's the fear of falling apart, and this is what we must remember. True power doesn't need to announce itself. Real power is quiet, steady, present. Question for you. Have you ever known someone who puffed themselves up like they were performing when no one was around? Have you heard that voice trying to cover a void too large to face? Share your experience in the comments. It might help someone else who's trying to break free from the same illusion. 2. The mirror doesn't lie. There's an image that keeps coming back, though few truly notice it. A narcissist, alone, standing in front of a mirror. Not to fix their hair or check their clothes, but to find, in that reflection, a kind of validation the world never gave them. That mirror isn't just glass, it's a stage, a courtroom, a refuge. When no one's watching, the narcissist's solitude fills with control. Every inch of their face is examined. Every flaw must be corrected. But this isn't just vanity. It's survival. Their physical appearance is the mask they can't afford to lose. Because if it cracks, everything falls. In those silent moments, they whisper, I have to look perfect. No one can beat me. If I'm not flawless, I'm nothing. Their entire identity clings to that image like an anchor. And when no one is there to validate them, the reflection must. A mirror that doesn't judge, but also doesn't love. Kados, it simply reflects what they're terrified of no longer being. Because deep down, behind the mask, the narcissist's fragility is unbearable. And if the mirror shows even a trace of imperfection, they feel their power, their control, their identity begin to slip. If you've lived close to them, you've probably been shocked by this ritual. How can someone who seems so confident become their own worst critic the moment they're alone? The answer is painful, but freeing. No one can wear a mask forever. And the narcissist mask will eventually crack. But then, what happens to someone who has tied their entire worth to the image they see in the mirror? Freedom begins when we stop looking at ourselves to judge and start looking to recognize who we really are. Because we're not just our reflection. We're every scar, every experience, every step that brought us this far. Question for you: have you ever tied your worth to your physical appearance? Have you known someone who lived as a prisoner of their own image? Share in the comments. Every truth shared might help someone else begin their own release. 3. The script of control. Have you ever talked to yourself imagining an argument that never happened? Ever repeated in your mind what you wish you'd said? We all do it sometimes. But for the narcissist, it's more than that. It's not a passing thought. It's a daily rehearsal, a mental theater, where every word is calculated, every gesture rehearsed, every comeback designed to win. When alone, the narcissist simulates confrontations, moments where someone criticizes them, doubts them, challenges them, and in their mind, they always respond with coolness, certainty, and superiority. In their inner world, they never lose, because losing would mean losing control. This habit might seem harmless, maybe even silly, but it hides something deeper, a fear of being seen for who they really are. Not authentic, not perfect, not invincible. The narcissist must always be prepared, because in their mind, if they don't control the conversation could destroy them. Why they revise, why they anticipate. In the mirror, their mind. In silence, it's a strategy that gives them the illusion of strength, but actually pulls them further away from themselves, because someone who scripts every word never learns the freedom of emotional honesty, never feels the peace that comes from embracing imperfection. If you live with a narcissist, you've probably been baffled by this. How can someone so confident spend hours imagining a fight that never even happened? The truth is that confidence is just a performance, and every performance eventually exhausts, cracks. So let me ask you, have you ever heard someone argue with ghosts? Felt like a conversation, even a simple one, was already written before it began? Share it in the comments. Sometimes it only takes one honest word to break a script that's been looping for far too long. If this video is speaking to you, leave a super thanks or subscribe to the channel. You'll help us continue spreading awareness and inner freedom. Now let's keep going. 4. The numbers that deceive. Have you ever found yourself checking the number of likes after posting something? It's normal. We're human. But imagine if those numbers were the only way you had to feel worthy. That's what it's like for the narcissist. Every post is a declaration of existence. Every photo, every caption, every perfectly curated image is a cry to the world. Look at me. Approve me. Tell me I matter. Social media isn't communication for them. It's a mirror. And the digital mirror is ruthless. It only reflects what gets clicked. Every like is a breath of air. Every comment, a shot of validation. But when they don't show up, anxiety, frustration, emptiness. The narcissist refreshes, reloads, checks again. Not out of curiosity, but out of survival. Because without that ideal reflection, they feel invisible. And invisibility, to someone who lives off appearances, is intolerable. This need for approval is subtle but powerful. Like a drop of water slowly carving into the rock of identity until it becomes fragments, swayed by every shift in numbers. So they edit the post, delete it, re-upload it, make up stories just to grab a little more attention. It's a cycle that never ends, an illusion of power built on shaky foundations. And you, if you've lived with someone like this, you've seen the chronic dissatisfaction, the restlessness, the tension under their skin. You've seen a person who is never full because they're looking for something outside that they lost inside. But the truth is simple, even if hard to accept. True self-worth isn't measured in likes. It grows in silence. It's built on authenticity, and it's defended with love and boundaries. And if you've felt trapped by those numbers, if you've looked for value through a screen, maybe now's the time to ask yourself, who are you when no one is watching? Have you ever felt the anxiety of digital comparison? Have you ever watched your need for validation become an addiction? Share your story in the comments. Every real story is a step toward liberation. 5. The victim that isn't. There's a moment when the room is empty and silence grows heavy, when even the narcissist bends, not in public, not in front of others, but deep inside themselves. That's when another mask falls, the mask of invulnerability, and a new one appears, the mask of the victim. In those moments, they don't crave admiration. They want understanding. They're no longer dominating, They're complaining. They tell themselves no one gets them. The world is unfair. They're all alone. But be careful. This isn't true vulnerability. It's another form of control. A subtle, silent way to stay center stage, even when no one is watching. Because if they can't be celebrated, they'll settle for being pitied. If they can't shine, they'll become martyrs. Self-pity is the refuge of the collapsing ego. It keeps them from admitting fault. It avoids responsibility. In their narrative, the problem is always out there, never within. If you've lived with a narcissist, you know, after every fight, every breakdown, they don't apologize. They tell you how much they've suffered, how misunderstood they've been, and often, they even make you feel like the one at fault. But the truth is, this isn't openness, it's a strategy. A tactic to manipulate emotions, reverse roles, and blur the lines. Breaking free from this dynamic means recognizing something essential. Not all pain comes from an open heart. Sometimes, it's just another mask. Yes, there may be suffering behind that facade. That's human. But using suffering to control others isn't vulnerability. It's fear disguised as weakness. So let me ask you, have you ever been hurt and then found yourself being the one expected to comfort them? Write it in the comments. Truth shared is the first step out of the illusion. 6. The secret storm. In public, the narcissist seems untouchable, controlled, confident, out of reach, as if nothing could ever shake them. But as soon as the door closes and silence falls, something inside them begins to tremble. It's an invisible tension, slowly building up. Every missing validation, every withheld compliment, every applause that never came. It's a quiet accumulation of narcissistic rage. And when they're finally alone, they explode. Not at others, never. But at the void, they scream into nothing, throw objects, shout at the air, not out of pure anger, but from the silent humiliation of not feeling seen. These hidden outbursts aren't random. They're desperate acts to reclaim power, in a space where no one can judge. It's there, in that distorted intimacy, that the narcissist yells without a mask, and for a moment, feels back at the center. Because here's the truth. If they can't be admired, they must at least be feared. And even if no one is watching, they still need to react. But you, who've known them, maybe even lived beside them, have you seen that transformation? From cold control to explosive rage? From calm to chaos? It's unsettling, and yet, it's real. The cruelest part? After the outburst, they never take responsibility for the pain. They project it. They justify it. And often, they make you feel guilty for not having prevented it. But the truth is, no one was born to hold someone else's storm. You are not the container for a rage they refuse to process. Healing begins when you stop believing it's all on you. When you stop justifying and start protecting yourself. Question for you. Have you ever seen someone's calm break into rage the moment they were alone? Tell your story in the comments. Every word is a step toward clarity. 7. The dreams that don't belong to you. What happens in a narcissist's mind when they're finally alone? There's no one left to impress, no one to control, just silence and a heavy emptiness. That's when the fantasies begin. Not ordinary daydreams, but vivid scenes where everything revolves around them. Enemies kneeling, crowds applauding. Successes that don't exist. Yet, these are fantasies of revenge and recognition, built to repair what reality refuses to give. The narcissist needs to feel like the main character, and when the world won't give them that role, they invent it. Because to them, not being special means not existing. They pace the room, smile to themselves, relive victories that never happened, replay arguments they never won, and in every scene, they win. They reclaim the control they feel slipping away in real life. But these fantasies aren't just escapism. They're desperate attempts to protect a crumbling identity. And the more they hide there, and the more they disconnect from the real world. If you live with them, you feel it. The gap between who they pretend to be and who they truly are grows wider and wider. And still, They believe the world should bend to their imaginary story. And when reality says no, they react with rage, with contempt, with revenge. Because to them, you're not a person. You're an obstacle between them and the spotlight. But you, who have seen them, maybe even loved them or feared them, you need to remember, their dreams are not your responsibility. You are not here to fulfill them. You are not here to support them. They built that fantasy world to escape the fear of being no one. But you can choose truth. Real freedom begins when you stop playing roles in their fiction, when you stop justifying their thirst for attention, when you finally accept that you can't fill what was never yours to carry. Have you ever felt like you weren't enough just because someone else always wanted more? Have you ever felt like you were living inside someone else's script? Share it in the comments. Let your truth, simple and real, shatter the illusion. If this hits something deep inside you, that's not coincidence. That's clarity. Subscribe to the channel and download the Circle of Life for free. Link in the description. It's your first step away from their story and back into yours. Comment below, I'm ready to start my path. Let's move forward. In truth,